Hey guys, Jen's here. So just popping in for a little quickie today. I have been traveling like crazy, but I made a commitment to get you guys content twice a week. A little bit late today. Um, but listen, I skipped my shower so I could get out get this out to you because I'm about to take off again. I just spent an amazing week in Montana, Kalispell, Montana, with the Sub 2 Gator Owners Club crew. That was amazing, phenomenal. I am definitely inspired to make a video called "What Has Your Mentor Done for You Lately?" So hopefully that will come to fruition soon. But today, what I wanted to do was pop in real quick and show you a little something that I threw together. I don't want to say last night, there's been some work prior to this. Um, Basically, for our intake process for our Haven Hall Sober Dome property, but for Haven Hall, our group home company, we received Google document from our mentors. We've been tweaking it based on little things that we've learned, little challenges that we've run into. I put it in an Adobe form, and honestly, so that we could put it online. Um, it's just this home is 3 hours away from me, and my partner is in New York. So having something online that's easy to move around, something where when somebody fills it in, the information can automatically be filed. Um, Anywho, so that would work better for us. So since I already have an Adobe Pro account, I decided to go that route. And that worked well for a little bit, but an issue that we were running into, let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you what that looks like. No, I don't want to do that. Just wanted you out of the way. All right, so if we come to our website, if you haven't seen it before, this is the website for Haven Hall Residences. Very simple site, built it in Wix. I did it pretty much in one night, and then of course there's some tweaks you need to make once you are not, red-eyed, blurry-eyed at 2 o'clock in the morning and you see little errors that you made. But like I said, very simple. It's like 3 pages. I have some pages on the back end that we use. Let me show you this real quick. So it's home, apply to stay, contact. That's all of our forward-facing pages. These are very simple pages that will be built out a little bit further. Right now, it's pretty much a placeholder. I put a little bit of text, and I'll flesh those out when when it becomes pertinent. But if you go to apply to stay, apply for a bed, and I had to, again, with Adobe, it's a little more complicated because it requires email verification. So I had to, which reminds me, I'm going to have to update this page as well, but it'll be less, not more. But I had to put extra information, instructions saying like, hey, when you fill out this form, you're going to be asked to verify your email address and blah, blah, blah. And then that gets complicated because a lot of times the people that are looking to get a bed in our homes, they don't they may not have an email address, or they might not have easy access to their email address. So they can't just pop over, verify their email, and then come back. Now, the workaround for that was we just tell them, hey, you can use our general email address. It comes to us, we can click confirm, and then the form would come to us. But then it was getting a little bit glitchy where even when they were doing that, the emails weren't this email where we need to confirm wasn't ever coming through. So it was inconsistent. We can't have that. So here's just FYI what that looked like. Another challenge with using Adobe Forms is that when this is filled out, okay, one, I can't like mark gender, and take this with a grain of salt. I am not like a pro user, so maybe there's a workaround for some of these things. Let me click continue just so you can see the screen better. You see all the red asterisks are required questions. Well, gender, marital status, there are other questions that I would like to have marked as required, but the way this form is set up, like on a multiple choice or a yes, no question, I would have to mark each field as required versus the entire item. Clearly, I can't have somebody require to mark themselves as male or require to mark themselves as female or both. So that didn't work. I just had to leave it open and hope they answered. And if they didn't answer, we'd ask them in a follow-up interview. And don't get mad at me if I'm asking people to say, well, I guess we should have an other if we're being PC these days, but don't get hung up on that. So the other challenge with the Adobe form is that, again, I told you about the email issue where when they're done, it would say, hey, you have to confirm your email before this will be sent to Haven Hall. Another issue would be that if we needed to update this form, like there were a lot, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. So you get in there, you use it, you have other people use it, and then you're like, oh, we have to update this or we need to add that. Well, I would have to go in, update that PDF, whether I did it in Google Docs or straight in PDF, you'd have to update the PDF and then add all of these form fields again. There's some tool where it looks like you can copy the form fields from the previous and then paste it, but I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I would have to go in and set up all these form fields again if we made any change to this form, and then go update the link on the website, which the way I set the website up is I've got everything funneled to here. Like our Facebook page just has a link to this page. So this page always stays the same. Instead of having to update this apply for a bed link all over the website, just drive everyone to the singular page. And then all I have to update in Wix is the link where it says apply for a bed on this page. I do have two links here to update, but that's easy peasy. My point is just I don't have to go all over the site updating links, or I don't have to go to our Facebook page and update a form link. I just have havenhallresidences.com apply to stay posted everywhere, so it funnels everybody here. Okay, we had a brief interruption. Where was, let me share my screen again. And I'm not going to have time to edit this one before posting, you guys, so sorry about that. Okay, so funneling everything to one page, so I have the least amount of places where I have to update a link. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to tell you about using Adobe. Oh, yes. So let's say I decided I need to add something and somebody is in the middle of filling out this form and I upload a new version. Well, they're gonna get all the way. This is very unlikely that this would happen, but if you're doing a super high volume business right now, you're probably not watching this video. However, just FYI, if I upload a new version of this form and somebody's in the middle of filling this out, they get all the way to the end and they're like, whew, thank God that's done. And then they click submit. It's going to say, hey, this version is no longer valid. There's a new copy. Start over, which I'd be really freaking annoyed if that was me. So heads up on that. Now, our mentors marketing agency, again, I might refer to different mentors. So as you guys know, I might have mentioned like working with Don Rich and Patrick Legenzoff. But we also very big in the sub-2 community with Pace Morby, also the Gator Method, and also the Owners Club. So they use their marketing company, I should say, they use Typeform. They always have us filling out Typeforms. And before I chose to use Adobe, I had an idea in my mind, like, well, it's good enough for them. And they have multiple communities that are, almost between 10 and 15,000 deep. So it must be good enough, right? But for some reason, this is typically what happens. Try to save a buck. I already had Adobe, and guess what? Now I'm I spent all the time like doing the Adobe forms a couple times, different iterations. And now I'm spending time doing Typeform. So maybe I should have just gone there from the beginning. Sometimes you try to save a buck and you waste a lot more in time. So In Typeform, let me show you real quick. This was we just went for the basic package. Now, the issue with the free, you can do a free trial, but the thing that held us up from doing the free trial is that I think you get up to 100 responses, or maybe it's 10 responses was the free trial, and then you can upgrade if you like it. But a problem I had is that you can only do 10 questions in a form with the free trial. We asked 10 questions like in the first quarter of the first page of the intake form. I mean, that just barely gets you through the person's contact info. So we went ahead and paid for the basic plan. Don't fully, it says $25 a month. If you want to go annual, it's going to be 29 with tax, $31 a month. Should be totally worth it though. And with that basic plan, we get 100 responses per month. So that's going to be each person that fills out a form and submits unlimited forms. So we can create as many as we want. Now, this is not marketing. This is a tool. So I just want to clarify that 100 responses per month does not mean that you're going to get 100 responses per month. But within this package, you can receive up to 100 responses. If you go over and you haven't upgraded, then you're not going to lose your data, but it's going to charge you like, I think at this plan, it's $4, but it could be up to $6 per form, which is fine. That's a great. I don't know if you're paying for your marketing, that's not really your cost per lead, but we're not paying for marketing right now. So $6 would be an excellent cost per lead to get a paying button bed. So you will get unlimited questions with the basic. It's branded, which I'll show you. Oh, sorry, this is question branching logic jumps. So the logic jumps are great. If somebody answers no to something, you don't want them to have to scroll through the next 5 questions related to that one benefit, which I didn't have logic in Adobe. Again, I'm not a expert daily user in Adobe Forms. Maybe that's a function, but I guarantee you it would be more difficult to set up than Typeform was. Also, disclaimer, I had my VA set up this form, but when I just told him do your best to figure out the logic, I just sent him the Adobe form. I said, hey, set this up in Typeform. Here's the new Typeform account. And I said, do your best to figure it out. I love my VA, by the way. He's pretty good at figuring out what I want. And then he sent it back. And I did have to make a few tweaks as far as marking some new additional things required and adjusting some of the logic in some cases, but it was super simple. Okay, so you'll get an email notification when you get a response. I don't know what the personalized with hidden fields is. I don't know if we use that or not. Calculator, probably cool if we get around to using that. We can receive file uploads. So let's say we were doing this for HR and somebody needed to upload their resume. I can definitely see some cases where we might need to use this in the future, but not for this intake form. Anyway, there's the respondent will get an email notification that it was submitted. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see this. See, I stopped here. I was sold halfway through. 500 integrations with Zapier. I can see that coming in handy. Gosh, MailChimp, HubSpot, Airtable, blah, 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 Slack. Really, what I liked about Typeform also is that the responses are sent to Google Sheets. That's something that didn't work with Adobe. With Adobe, we just got a PDF. Well, let me think. Yeah, we would just get the information in a completed PDF. The benefit is that the people were typing their answers in, so at least it was legible instead of just handwritten. So there you go. That's what the basic plan includes. I'm always worried, am I going to have enough content to talk for a certain amount of time? And I always go way over. All right, so as of this afternoon, right after this meeting, I will simply go into Wix and update this link. And when I do, instead of going to my sent email, so I can grab the link real quick. I've already sent a lot of emails this morning. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Thank you for your patience, guys. Okay, so now when you click apply for a bed, instead of going to this Adobe form, it's going to go to this form. Okay. I have a few instructions here that were on our paper PDF or our Adobe web form. What I like about this too is it gives people an idea of how long it's going to take them to fill this out. I'm not going to, just for time's sake, I'm not going to go through the whole, I'll just click start so you can see how it works. Demographic section, it's going to tell them each section that they're about to go through. And then one thing that's nice about Typeform is it's not overwhelming. It's just one piece of info at a time, one question at a time. And okay, one piece of information at a time. And then they can go back and forth if they realize they need to change something going through. What I will show you actually is the back end of this Typeform. I haven't attempted to cancel this. Let me see if I can just close it out. Now, with a higher level, I don't know if it's included in this one. With a higher level, like a premium plan, you'll be able to get analytics like where are people dropping off of your form if you feel like people aren't actually completing. So I guess with I just close this, I will become a statistic in a plan that I don't have. But with the plan that we do have, one thing that I like is that we will get, let me see. Oh, we'll get the time of day that people are more likely to fill out the form, which with the amount of data that we're getting right now isn't going to mean anything. However, I do like that we'll be able to see what devices people are using. And I feel like that's important because we've already learned that devices are really important in this community. One thing to be aware of is that even given all of this technology, you need to be able to print out a paper form and take it to people or mail it to them. I had to mail one to a prison the other day. Or people, one thing that's really prevalent in the community is broken screens. So they might not even be able to complete the form. But that reminds me, if they do have to fill it out on mobile, that's the other benefit of Typeform is because it's like one question at a time. It's big, it's much easier to fill out on mobile than the Adobe was. Let's see, what was I going to show you guys next? Oh yes, Typeform, the back end. Okay, so I created a workspace for Haven Hall, and then my VA went in and created this form based on me just sending him the link to our Adobe. I sent him this page, told him to click apply for bed, and then use this form to go over and create our Typeform. And so he did. I'm gonna click refresh and see if this completion number goes up because we've submitted a couple of tests now. Okay, 2 responses, 20. So a few of us, we haven't published it yet. So the director, the VA, myself have probably all opened this form a couple of times and started it. If I didn't say already, another reason I wanted to use this is because it will export to Google Sheets, which in the future will make it much easier if we need to sort and find data to look at our KPIs or to communicate with other community partners about what we're doing, what our community looks like. Okay, so intake assessment, you write a little description, introduction. I can probably do a little bit better, but I'm not going to think about that right now. I could probably make these instructions a little clearer, especially since things have changed with the form a bit, but I'm not going to do it right now. And then for each one of these sections, it's going to do continue, but you can click a drop down. So what I did when I went in and I was filling out the Typeform myself as a test, when I noticed something that would need to be changed, I would just come in here to this section. Like this said, please enter your name. Well, I wanted to be more specific. And so I said, please enter your full name. I just had my type form that I was filling out open in one. I stopped, I came over here, I clicked on this, I changed this question to full, just typed it in and then kept moving. Okay. So what's great about this is that somebody could be filling out the form online right now while I'm making changes in this form. And then you see we get to a new section. And then when I'm done, let me move this here. Oh, I haven't made any changes here. But if I were to make a change now, I would get a little button up here that said publish. And when I'm done making my changes, I can just click publish. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to go update the link. And anybody else that comes to that page, assuming they've refreshed the page in their browser, will get the new link. So let me see. Trying to see where we have some. So this indicates that there is some logic. So if I click on this and there's a yes, no logic, I can click on, because what's going to happen is after we ask if they are a smoker, if they say no, they're going to bounce to marital status. If they say yes, we're going to ask them if they use tobacco or if they vape. Okay. And so you can come over to, I'm going to go back up to smoker, logic. And you get this nice little flow chart if that's your thing. But I kind of like to look at stuff in a list. So I click on this box that says branching and segmentation. And then you got to scroll down to the question that you're at. It'll kind of have it expanded for you. So that's one easy way to look for it. And then it's just an if-then situation. Figure out, if the question is smoker is the answer yes, then you want them to go to the next question, which do you use? Let's see. If not, let's see. Maybe I might need to test that one out and see, because then go to which do you use? Oh, all other cases, go to your marital status. So if the case is not yes, the only other option is no, but it's not yes, then it's going to take them to the next question. Hope that makes sense. So I think, oh, and then the other thing I wanted to show you. So, okay, they have finished filling out the form. Let me go back home to content. So they're all the way down here at the end. Our last page is immediate consent. When they click continue here, then it's going to ask them to submit. And that means the form has been submitted. And then we are going to just get a nicer background here. I opened up an email. We're going to get our email notification that we have received a new response. And it's also, let me see if I have a Google Sheet pulled up for you here. Okay, here's going to be all of the data. These are both tests. All of the data in a nice spreadsheet that we can format to be a little easier on the eye, but we can search, sort, whatever. This will be great for informational purposes going forward. However, if you have a follow-up interview, that might not be the best way to go through the information with somebody. You can reference this email, probably copy paste this to a PDF or whatever you need to do, or a Google Doc to make this easier to read. But you'll get this in an outline form so that you can easily see, if there's something that, oh, why didn't you want to give us your emergency contact address? Or I don't know. That's probably not something I would ask, but, oh, do you have any pending cases? Yes. If yes, please explain. Not applicable. Oh, okay. Well, why do you consider it not applicable? Can you tell me more? So just so you know, you will get this aside from the Google Sheet, and you don't have to save it to Google Sheets. You have multiple integrations you can choose from. If you want to send it to Slack, like if you have a person in your Slack channel that is responsible for following up on these intake forms, then boom, you send the info to Slack, it pings that person, they can follow up. Maybe we're just a little antiquated here. Slack eventually. But just FYI that you do get this in an email. And then you can click on this and I think it's a similar format when you click on that link to look at it in Typeform. Okay, so we've had here's a big picture. And let's see, drop off rate, upgrade plan. I don't really care about drop off right now. Insight summary responses. Okay, so this is also going to be, and I'm wondering if I click into one of these. So this is also going to be a table format if you prefer to look at it online or don't want to save it. Oh, something else. Typeform is encrypted and HIPAA compliant. Now, you might need to do some research on that if HIPAA compliance is required. I'm guessing it's probably no longer HIPAA compliant once you move it into Google Sheets. So if your business requires that, you'll need to research that. What I'm looking at now is if I'm able to click into this data to see it in more of a list form. Oh, download responses. That's probably going to be in a Google Sheet. I can change what columns are showing, it looks like, so that might be easier to view. I think I already got a summary. Okay, so it looks like you're going, oh, here we go. So here's one way that you could view it if you, that might get difficult when you have a lot of responses. So it looks like you're going to need to rely on the email notification if you want to just scroll through the questions and review them with your perspective licensee or however you refer to the people staying in your homes. Okay, I hope that this saves you some time if you are considering where to go for your forms. I think we're going to be very happy with Typeform, and you guys have a great day.